Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, the federal government has taken over Washington, D.C., the police department in Washington, D.C., and there are mixed reactions. There are people who are appalled by this because it looks like martial law. But on the other hand, there are people who seem to be okay with it because they complain about the crime in the city, even though they say it has gone down by about 30%, which makes you wonder what was it before it went down 30%. So I found this article and I would like to share it with you because it gives an insight into how the mayor of Washington, D.C. feels about this. D.C. officials see takeover as opportunity to build relationships with federal partners. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Metropolitan Police Department Chief Pamela Smith say President Donald Trump's takeover will help law enforcement with operations after it faced staffing shortages. Smith says the extra presence will allow the department to strengthen its relationship with federal law enforcement for future collaborations following Trump's declaration of a crime emergency in the district. I think this is a very positive position for them to take as opposed to railing against Trump because all that's going to do is make it worse because at the end of the day it's probably just grandstanding, but if you try to take him on then he'll make it more serious than what it really is. But let's go on. These relationships with federal law enforcement are not new, Smith told Fox 5. It will help me to do the things that I need to do, and to the mayor's point, we are down 800 police officers. Well, that's a bad sign in a large city when you're down 800 police officers. Metropolitan Police Department currently has 4,000 staff members and 3,200 sworn officers, according to an August 2025 staffing report. Metropolitan Police Department currently has 4,000 staff members and 3,200 sworn officers, according to an August 2025 staffing report. D.C. Police Union Chairman Greg Pemberton said in January that MPD is operating at dangerously low staffing levels and is staffed at a 50-year low. To compensate for staffing shortages, officers are consistently working excessive overtime, Pemberton said. Last year, members worked nearly 2 million hours of overtime, 4 times the average. This not only leads to physical and mental exhaustion, but also reduces the effectiveness of our force. Bowser says that feelings of crime don't always reflect the declining crime rates and hopes that more police on the streets will help people feel safer. I think this is one of the most positive approaches to something like this that we've seen, especially from a black mayor, because you have people out here screaming, oh, they're only doing this to black mayors. They're only doing this to black mayors. Now, that's the public, that's pundits and podcasters. But when the mayor of the city starts screaming about, oh, they're only doing this to me because I'm black, then it's only going to make it worse. But the mayor is making an important point. If they're down 800 police officers and those officers are having to work overtime, that's not fair to them and their families. So, yes, Donald Trump does things for grandstanding, and he's going to come out and make a big speech to the public to make it seem like I'm taking over Washington, D.C. because all of that crime and trying to make it seem like it was his idea and he's the bad guy when in fact the mayor may have asked for help. But at the same time, he is fulfilling a need that this city has. I think it's wise for us as black Americans not to exaggerate a situation and try to make it worse, because then people will always try to make it seem like it's those black people, and that's supposed to get you geared up to get out there in the streets and fight. And the other day when I did a video on this, someone from the DC area said they didn't have a problem with it. Now, some people who, especially people who don't live there, probably do have a problem with it. But, and I'm sure some of the people in DC have a problem with it, but some of the people don't, because they want to feel safe. Because who preys on the black community more? Okay, I rest my case. We want to be able to grow our numbers at Metropolitan Police Department, Bowser said in the interview. We know that being able to have a local known police department in neighborhoods generates trust and helps communities help the police make them safer. Bowser and Attorney General Pam Bondi met shortly after the announcement on Monday, and Bowser says she has found Bondi to be pretty straightforward. The D.C. mayor stated that the U.S. Attorney's Office and D.C. Forensic Lab are working together again, mentioning that they've already noticed improvements in their relationships with federal partners. For the next 30 days, Bondi will control MPD and serve as the main point of contact. Trump also designated Terry Cole, who was confirmed less than 3 weeks ago to lead the Drug Enforcement Administration, as MPD's interim federal commissioner. Smith says federal agents will be easily identifiable and wear their agency logos. Section 740 of the Home Rule Act grants the president the authority to take control of the city's police for 48 hours, which can be extended for 30 days if Congress is notified. It has not yet been revealed how crime rates and MPD's progress will be measured during the next 30 days. So this takeover is only going to last for 30 days. And I guess maybe if Congress gives permission for it to last longer, but it's not something that's going to be permanent, and that is why the mayor is not railing against it or panicking over it. Because I personally don't like for black people to always have a meltdown when something happens, because I operate on the idea that this too will pass. So I'm going to let you listen to a resident from Washington, D.C., and let you get his take on it, because the people of Washington, D.C. don't seem to be panicking over this.
Look, don't believe the hype. The federal government takeover of Washington, D.C. law enforcement is just a distraction, and you have to be very careful if you live in D.C. or work in D.C., because the very people that you see out in the media being loud, belligerent, screaming, inciting violence are probably paid to be there, just like the law enforcement officers themselves. So don't do it. You have to understand the president, he just suffered another big loss in the media. He drew a line in the sand with Russia, and Russia basically ignored him and scheduled a meeting instead. That deadline is passed, and now he's trying to save face. The problem is you can't bully a nuclear power. Like, you have to use diplomacy. And he tried to bully them and scare them with more sanctions, and it didn't work. Russia didn't budge. So, look, just be careful out there, man. And for everybody else who's not in the area, don't believe the hype. You know what I mean? Understand that if the president succeeds, he can do the exact same thing in every major city in the United States of America, and build his own personal military force, because every major city in America has crime. It's a function of socioeconomics, not just because people are violent and want to be, destructive. At the end of the day, we've got problems that we need to solve in this country, starting with housing, ending with wages, and livable wages, shall I say. And if we don't solve those problems, then crime will always exist. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Don't believe the hype, man. Love y'all with the love of Christ. Peace.
I think we can agree with him that it is a distraction. Bringing federal troops into the city to police the city is a distraction. But at the same time, if they are down 800 police officers, they need some extra help. So they need that help. So anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Keep in mind that this so-called takeover is only supposed to last for 30 days. So we'll see what happens when 30 days are up. All right. Have a good evening.